Thank you. There's going to be domestic violence? Wait a minute.
Oh, she gave one earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, from the floor. I'd like to call to order the City Caucus meeting for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. We have 5 public hearings this evening. If the clerk could please read. All right. Go ahead. Just read the public hearings.
Public hearing number 1, the 2025 proposed operating budget and capital budget for the city of Schenectady.
Public hearing number 2.
Public hearing number 2, amending section 248-2 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing parking violation fines.
Public hearing number 3.
Public hearing number 3, amending section 92-7 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing fees and charges for police department records.
Public hearing number 4.
Public hearing number 4, amending sections 124-13 and 124-22 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing administrative fees regarding false alarm calls.
Public hearing number 5.
Public hearing number 5, amending City Code 144-14C, increasing dog license fees.
Thank you. We have 20 items for original consideration. If the clerk could please read item number 1.
Item number 1 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing to establish a temporary moratorium on the submission and processing of building permits, certificates of occupancy, certificates of use, and land use approvals of cannabis establishments as the City Council considers changes to the Schenectady City Code, Chapter 264.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing to amend sections 151-9, 138-2, 138-23, 138-43, 157-14, 183-10, 210-14 of the Schenectady City Code relating to the increase in set fees and adopting a building code administration fee schedule pursuant to sections 137-17, 138-21 and 138-11.1 of the Schenectady City Code.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $30,442.74 in Bulletproof Vest Partnership (BVP) grant award monies for the Schenectady Police Department.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the city to accept $46,000 police traffic services grant monies from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, or GTSC, for the Schenectady Police Department.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5 for original consideration, a resolution determining that the development of lead service line replacement inventory is a Type 2 action pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.5 and not subject to review under SECRA.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6 under original consideration, a resolution authorizing an amendment correcting errors in Resolution 2024-202 for the sale of 442 Plymouth Avenue.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7 under original consideration, a resolution authorizing an amendment correcting errors in Resolution 2024-177 for the sale of 1044 Helderberg Avenue.
Discussed in committee without objection and on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8 under original consideration, a resolution authorizing the sale of a vacant lot on Selden Street for $1,500.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9 under original consideration, a resolution authorizing the sale of a vacant lot at 1139 Pleasant Street for $3,000.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10 under original consideration, a resolution confirming the appointment of Alexandra Bland to the Schenectady Planning Commission and reappointment of Randall S. Beach to the Schenectady Planning Commission.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11 for final consideration, a resolution authorizing the ceremonial naming of a portion of Barrett Street between South Avenue and Union Street to Marlene Hill Way.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, under original consideration, a resolution recognizing James Thomas Jr. for his Schenectady City School District Athletic Hall of Fame induction.
This will be presented at a later date. Item number 13.
Item number 13, under original consideration, a resolution acknowledging Ferrari's Ristorante for 50 years of service to the Schenectady community.
This item will be taken out of order and presented by Councilmember Mancini. Item number 14.
Item number 14, under original consideration, a resolution celebrating Italian Heritage Month.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent, and this item will be presented at a later date. Item number 15.
Item number 15, under original consideration, a resolution recognizing October as Polish American Heritage Month.
This item will be taken out of order and presented by Councilmember Patrick. Item number 16.
Item number 16, under original consideration, a resolution recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
This item will be taken out of order and presented by Councilmember DeToro. Item number 17.
Item number 17, under original consideration, a resolution authorizing the issuance of revocable permit number 686 to Andy Zhang for a sign and awnings that overhang the city's right-of-way at 469 State Street.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 19. 18. Number wrong. Okay, 18.
Item number 18, under contract and supply, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for the chilled water piping repairs to Campito Plumbing Incorporated in the amount of $94,493.00.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 19.
Item number 19, under contract and supply, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for the Emergency Service Training Facility Roof Simulator to Midstate Industries in the amount of $56,550.00.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. We have one other item to add for unanimous consent. I would need a motion from the floor. Mr. Butavera.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to move for unanimous consent a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $636,025 in the bipartisan infrastructure bill for lead service line replacement fund grant award monies.
I'd need a second on that. Second by Ms. Patrick. Is everyone, answer aye if everyone's okay to add this to the consent agenda? Aye. Can we, aye? Okay. Thank you. We'll add that to the consent agenda. Well, we have three tonight actually to be done. A ceremonial resolution. Sorry about that. All right. If there's nothing to come before the City Council caucus, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mutaveran. All those in favor? Aye. I'd like to call to order the Schenectady City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. And I'd like to call on Reverend Konicki to lead us in the prayer invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the rich tapestry that is our city of Schenectady. The heritage and the wonders of each community bring together a richness and a beauty that we all share in together with our openness and our acceptance. Together, we all stand in defense of those who are subject to domestic violence, whether it be physical or mental or emotional or economic, that those who stand together will support those who are subjected to this horror, and that by the richness of our community, we will be supporters and advocates for this community. Help us, help our council to see clearly your will for this city. You bring us such beauty and greatness, and in this season of thanksgiving and wonder and harvest, we especially bring to you our thanks. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to call on Anthony Ferrari to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd ask the deputy clerk to please complete the roll call.
Mr. Toro? Mr. Farley? Mr. Mancini? Mr. Mutavarian? Mrs. Patrick? Mr. Williams? And Ms. Porterfield?
Here. Thank you. We do, as I said, have 3 out-of-order resolutions tonight, but before we do that, the president of the NAACP would like to come forward, thank you, and to do a presentation.
Madam President, I stand here or?
Come on back here, ma'am. Nobody signed up.
Councilman Mutavera, the NAACP recognizes your history-making moments in the city of Schenectady. So I come tonight on behalf of the NAACP to present you with the Freedom Fund Award for 2024. And it reads as follows. The Schenectady NAACP presents the History Maker Award to Councilman John Mutavera for your commitment to justice and service to the community, 2024 Freedom Fund Award. Thank you so much for all that you have done for the community, and we appreciate you, and we hope that you will continue the work because it's so very important. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, I do things in the community. I do not look forward for awards, and I told that to Pastor Nikki, and I'm surprised. But you know what? I will accept it, and I will continue to do work. But let us all continue to do work, but don't seek awards. But you know, encourage people to get out there and do things that benefit our community and to make us all better as we work and to make Schenectady better. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Mutavarian, you weren't able to attend the party, so we brought the party to you. Thank you. Next, we will have the item number 13, acknowledging Ferrari's Restaurant for 50 years of service to the Schenectady community. And I'd like to call on Councilmember Mancini to please present this resolution.
Mr. Mancini.
Madam President, may I have the floor?
You have the floor, sir. Let them just...
Come on up. All right. This resolution, City of Schenectady, New York, City Council, where a resolution acknowledging Ferrari's Restaurant for 50 years of service to the Schenectady community. Whereas Ferrari's Restaurant, located in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood of Schenectady, opened its doors on October 7th, 1974, and has since become a cornerstone of the community. And whereas for the past 50 years, Ferrari's Restaurant has provided authentic Italian cuisine, a warm and welcoming atmosphere, and exceptional service to residents and visitors alike. Whereas Ferrari's Restaurant has become a beloved institution where generations of families have gathered to celebrate milestones, fostering a strong sense of community and family togetherness. And whereas the restaurant's long-standing commitment to providing high-quality food and hospitality has contributed significantly to the cultural and social fabric of the Mount Pleasant neighborhood and city of Schenectady as a whole. And whereas Ferrari's Restaurant has consistently contributed to the local economy by providing employment opportunities and attracting visitors to the city, elevating Schenectady's profile as a culinary destination. And whereas the City Council of Schenectady recognizes the importance of celebrating local business and shaping the city's identity and strengthening its neighborhoods. And whereas Ferrari's Restaurant's 50-year milestone is a testament to its enduring quality, adaptability, and strong relationship within the community over the past 5 years. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Schenectady City Council and Mayor Gary R. McCarthy do hereby recognize and celebrate Ferrari's Restaurant for its 50 years of service, serving delicious food and providing outstanding service and contributions to the city of Schenectady. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the Ferrari family as a token of the city's appreciation for their dedication to excellence and community service over the past 50 years. Congratulations.
Mr. Mancini, would you move the resolution, sir? Would you move the resolution?
May I, yes, make a motion to move the resolution?
May I have a second, please? Oh, many seconds. All in favor? Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, we just want to say, first of all, I want to thank God, thank Jesus, thank Mother Mary. I want to thank my parents, Frank and Rose Ferrari, who taught us a good work ethic that got us to find the American way here. We came here, my father always told us, came here with an empty suitcase. He had 4 boys, we got families, got grandchildren, and we're 50 years and we worked it, and we're going to keep going until we can finish till we're done, all right? All right, there you go. Vince, you want to say something? Okay, Joseph, my brother Joseph.
Hey, yes. So anyway, once again, thank you very much. And it's been, like the Grateful Dead says, a long, strange trip, but we're enjoying the ride. And I'd like to, thank my brothers and our wives. When you don't, when you have good backing, you could conquer the world. And just wanted to say thank you, and to my mom, dad, and my brother Johnny looking over us, with a grin ear to ear for us. So God bless. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Our next resolution. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Our next resolution is recognizing Polish American Heritage Month. Councilmember Patrick?
Madam President, may I have the floor?
You have the floor.
Thank you.
Where'd he go?
Reverend Kanicki and other folks, thank you for joining me. So as Reverend Kanicki said in our opening prayer, we are a very rich, we have a lot of rich diversity here in the city of Schenectady. We started our day acknowledging Italian heritage and this morning, and now October is also the Polish American Heritage Month. So I just want to read this briefly. A resolution proclaiming October 2024 as Polish American Heritage Month in Schenectady. Whereas the first Polish immigrants arrived in Jamestown, Virginia in 1608, performing work as craftsmen and forming the first labor union in this land. And whereas the first Polish settlers arrived in Schenectady, New York in 1797, with members graduating from Union College, working as merchants, and an individual from that community who was appointed the police commissioner. And whereas Schenectady's Polish immigrant and subsequent Polish American community contributed greatly to the religious, cultural, economic fabric, and demographic landscape of this diverse city since its earliest days by influencing arts and education, business and government, social services, and scientific and technological advancements. And whereas Polish heroes like General Casimir Pulaski and General Thaddeus Kościuszko, how is it? Kościuszko.
Kościuszko.
Thank you. Played a vital role in our nation's fight for independence. And whereas in 1984, the United States House of Representatives Joint Resolution 577 does August, later changed to October, as Polish American Heritage Month to celebrate the cultural heritage, achievements, and contributions Polish Americans have made to our nation. And whereas in celebration of Polish American Heritage Month, the Polish American Congress Central Division of New York State has chosen Schenectady for the inaugural running of the Pierogi 5K in Schenectady Central Park on Saturday, October 26th. And whereas the Pierogi 5K is intended to combine a focus on health and fitness with a celebration of Polish American heritage, culture, and food, now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Gary R. McCarthy and the Schenectady City Council do hereby pause in their deliberations to proclaim October 2024 Polish American Heritage Month in Schenectady and encourage all residents to join in celebrating the many contributions of Polish Americans. So I'd like to move this.
May I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Mutaverin. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Motion passes. Congratulations.
Here, I can hold that for you, or you guys can hold that.
Just trying to make this camera work.
Sure.
Somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, she has a camera, so we can send it to you too. And then, what would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I think I talked too much already. But thank you, Madam President, members of the council, Mayor McCarthy, for this honor, for recognizing this month. We're very excited for bringing really a large-scale activity that honors Polish heritage to the city of Schenectady, and we hope that this inaugural Pierogi 5K will be something that will go on for years. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have good food, and we hope everyone will turn out for that. You know, growing up in an ethnic family, you know, we were always taught those core values that are so important in every community. And one of the things we always learned about in school and subsequent study was, you know, the democratic heritage of Poland. Poland was formed as an elective monarchy, where, as opposed to other places where a very small percentage of people were represented in the sort of the hierarchy or the royalty and so on, a good 25% of Polish society voted for their kings and so on and so forth. And the idea of the liberum veto, where a member of the assembled group of people who would vote could veto any item that was up for consideration with a single word, you know, saying veto. And that sort of democratic tradition and heritage is something that was so important because it was very unique in the European landscape. You know, at the late 1700s, the Polish Constitution was right up there with the United States Constitution and the Constitution in France post-revolution. So those kind of markers really spoke broadly to people's desire for freedom, for democracy, for representation, and we're very privileged to be here in the United States and participating in this beautiful democracy.
It's hard to follow, Father Jim. But I just want to say my grandparents were immigrants from Poland who settled here in Schenectady. So there we go. I'm part of that. Yeah, that's okay. So everybody come. Good food. It'll be a lot of fun. We welcome everybody. So please join us.
Our next resolution is recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'd like to call on Councilmember DeToro to present this resolution.
Thank you, Madam President Porterfield. May I have the floor, please?
You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. I'd like to call forward my dear friend Arthur Fenix, his beautiful wife, his beautiful daughter, and whomever else is with Arthur here this evening. I'd also like to mention that up here or afterwards, I have a lot of domestic violence purple ribbons for anyone to take and to wear and support domestic violence, not only for the month of November, but throughout. Whereas October was first declared as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in 1989. Pretty sad that it waited till then, but since then, October has been a time to acknowledge domestic violence survivors and to be a voice for its victims. And whereas domestic violence is prevalent in every community, affects all people regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. Physical violence is often accompanied by emotional, abusive, and controlling behavior as part of a much larger systematic pattern of dominance and control. Domestic violence can result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and even death. The devastating consequences of domestic violence can cross generations and last a lifetime. And whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender identities, economic backgrounds, and education levels, causing harm to individuals, families, and communities. Whereas victims of domestic violence suffer isolation, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Approximately 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, sexual violence, or stalking with devastating effects on their health and safety. Whereas raising awareness through education, advocacy, and community engagement is essential in preventing domestic violence, supporting victims, and holding abusers accountable. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Schenectady City Council and Mayor Gary R. McCarthy do hereby pause in their deliberations to call on all Americans to remember the victims, celebrate the survivors, and remit to the ending domestic violence in all forms. I'd like to ask for a motion to move the resolution.
May I have a second, please? Second by Ms. Patrick. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Doreen for just inviting me down here to share my story of hope. Doreen has been a friend of mine for a while now, from middle school and high school when I was doing all the wrong things. I was really good friends with her family and her kids, and I just remember her always allowing her door to be wide open to me. While I was wrestling through some things, it was a place that was safe, and she was very generous and loving, and I appreciate all that you've done in my life. I want to share my condolences with the families who are suffering right now. I know Schenectady is grieving. There's just some hard things that people are working through right now with the shooting on Congress Street and a mother who lost another child to shootings. And all the children that have witnessed that, we're praying for you, and you're not alone. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to share my story. Although it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I wanted to share my story for people who have hard stories. I remember growing up, I felt alone. I needed somebody who could relate to the severity of my suffering. That's why I'm encouraged to share mine today, to know that there is hope despite the tragedy. See, my mother, she was loved, she was cherished, hardworking, athletic, and was striving for a better life, trying to become a nurse to provide for her family. She had a big heart. Her name was Melissa Amy Phoenix. Not only did she have a big heart, she was so generous and kind. She would give you the shirt off her back. Now, my mother was in a relationship early on in her life, and unfortunately, she was so generous, she gave her heart away to a man that would abuse it. That was my father. As time went on, she began to see the abusive patterns of this man and how he was a threat not only to herself, but to her family. My father was an enraged individual, unable to process emotion, addicted to drugs, unable to accept rejection or the word no. The last type of person you want your daughter to be with. Now, my mother tried to see the good in people. Oftentimes, when we are in love and give our hearts away, we make promises that would love them unconditionally through their shortcomings. Through thick and thin, we hope that they would change. However, unfortunately, my father did not change. July 27th, 1992, my mother was horrifically taken in the presence of her nieces, her nephews, and all her children, while protecting an infant in her arms. My mother, though she lost her life, she was courageous. This story is heavy, and it has baggage. However, I'm here to share this story to not only share the damage that it can cause or the hardship on an individual, a family, or a community, but to ultimately be a point of reference to individuals or families in the area who are and have suffered by these traumatic crimes. I'm sharing because there is hope despite the circumstances. I would be lying to tell you that it was easy picking up the pieces. It took courage to finish school. It took courage for my sister to go to college. It took courage for my grandmother to raise her deceased daughter's children while working through that loss. I would also be lying to tell you that I'm completely free from what I witnessed. I would be lying to tell you that all I need was coping, grieving, closure, therapy. Although all those things are necessary, I needed something deeper. I was broken at the soul. I remember when I was broken, at my lowest moment, high on drugs, I cried out to the Lord and he heard my cry. The next day, I was invited to play basketball at a church over in Bellevue where I would hear the gospel, the truth of the relationship with Jesus Christ, and a promise for my life. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm, plans to give you hope and a future." Although my doubts and disbelief, I chose that day to trust and seek him, turning away from my toxic behaviors, praying, "Although I believe, help me with my unbelief." Ever since then, he's been healing my heart, mending my mind, washing away the grief. He has set me free from seeking revenge and has given me a heart of forgiveness. He has brought closure. He has replaced fear with peace and has provided abundantly for my life and family. He has blessed me with a beautiful wife that I don't deserve and a healthy baby girl that likes to sing a lot. Now that the Lord has brought me leaps and bounds from where I have been, I am now thriving in a position to lead youth of Schenectady as a site director at the City Life Center over in Bellevue off Broadway, teaching them about the importance of educational success, financial literacy, health and wellness, coping skills, spiritual and moral direction for their future while giving them new opportunities in and out of state, giving hope for the next generation. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Claudia Phoenix. I'm Melissa's mother. Melissa Amy Phoenix was my daughter. She was ripped savagely from our lives, as Arthur said, on July 27, 1992. The children, her children, and my other grandchildren were forced into witnessing this assault on their innocent little eyes, and to hear my daughter's screams calling for her mother. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't want Melissa or any victim of domestic violence to be forgotten, because it's like they're murdered and they're just tossed away like garbage. But with things like this, as a remembrance, it just warms all of our hearts, and we thank all of you sincerely. Melissa she wanted to be a nurse, just like me. And when she was going to school, her abuser said he didn't want her to be a nurse because she'd have to bathe men. There is nothing provocative about bathing a sick person. It's all about making them well, making them whole. Melissa had the heart for it. At her funeral, there were so many people I didn't know coming up to me, telling me what a wonderful daughter I had. And I'm proud of Melissa's children. All three of them are people to be proud of. I used to tell Arthur, you're going to show your father what it's like to be a man. And oh my, has he done that. I just want to thank everyone, and to keep, if people would only raise their daughters to be strong and not feel as if they have to take any malarkey like that, and for their sons to be compassionate and not be bullies. And we're seeing it, as Arthur had mentioned, in shootings, gun violence, families fighting each other. It's just horrific. And I pray to God that we see an end to this, which I don't see happening, because you can enact, that's right. You can enact laws, but you can't change people's hearts. Did you want to say anything? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Arthur, for sharing your story.
Maybe the kids can hand out these paints to everybody for domestic
We have 5 public hearings this evening. And just a reminder that we have extended the public comment period for the public hearing to 4 minutes. And I also respectfully ask that everyone keep their comments related to the subject relevant to the public hearing. Thank you. So public hearing number 1 is on the 2025 proposed operating budget and capital budget for the city of Schenectady. And I think there may be some clarification here. I have no one signed up to speak on the sheet. Is there anyone who signed up perhaps on the incorrect sheet? Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on public hearing number 1 regarding the 2025 proposed operating budget? Okay, all right, let me just see. All right. Johan Matthews, your hand is up? Yep. Okay, give me a minute to just get everyone else, because I think some people also signed. Anyone else who is here to sign, to speak? Okay. Fabayo, okay. Anyone else? Rachel? And Pastor Nicole? Is there anyone else here to sign, who wishes to speak on the public hearing about the budget? Okay. So the first person to speak is Johan Matthews. You have 4 minutes.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Johan, I'm a city resident, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Carver Family Resource Center, a group of 10 homegrown service providers already providing services to hundreds, maybe thousands of Hamilton Hill residents. For over 7 years, the community has not given up on an effort to reestablish a community center in Hamilton Hill. We've evolved our approach. Previously, Mary Clun Craig, another group of community residents, got over 600 signatures and petitions to make sure this thing kept going, and they never gave up. Even though they faced challenges, they returned the building and they still support the effort. Now I work with a group of 10 plus service providers, all homegrown, all Schenectady based, who want to continue this. So we've had the residents, now we've had service providers, and they realize they can't access real estate in their own community to provide these essential services to residents who would frankly rather be served by them, people who care about them, who grew up in this community. So that's a big problem. The proposed budget doesn't account for Carver. While there are unique pressures facing the city, I completely understand that. I don't believe that problem justifies overlooking this one. The city has made a lot of economic investment into Hamilton Hill with the Craig Main connection over the last couple of years. And so this is an investment to the social infrastructure, not just sidewalks and parks and things like that, beautiful things. But it won't change anything. Unless we have a space where our community can come together to heal, grow, evolve, they're going to continue to be unattended children. Shootings, murders, taking away the potential of our next generation. So I think that's what the opportunity to support the Carver Family Resource Center represents. And so my question to you is, have you given up on this? And I've asked some of you in person, but I want to ask all of you together, the mayor, council members, have you given up on the Carver Family Resource Center because it's not accounted for in the budget? Okay? And if you have not given up on this, what would you do to communicate your resolve to the children of Hamilton Hill and adjacent communities who need these services? Again, police won't do it, not even the schools. Only community can hold our families together. So I ask you, have you given up? And if not, what can you do to demonstrate your resolve with the budget? Thank you.
Thank you. Fabayo Matlock.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a while since I've been here to see you all. It's good to see you. I'm here supporting the Carver Initiative as well. I stand as the president of the board of directors for the Hamilton Hill Arts Center. And we have, upon occasion, in numerous instances, found ourselves in similar situations as this as we push forward to make sure that the members of our community are not left behind, quite frankly. And it is, if I'm going to be at all truthful, very frustrating to stand here once again asking that Carver not be left behind and overlooked in the allocation of resources in terms of the budget in an area that desperately needs the funds, okay? So I know that there has been a lot of support for us here recently, but I want to look at historically where we have been put in this whole length of the Hamilton Hill community, I should say that, in the entire history of from what I have actually been exposed to. For instance, for the past 50 years, the Hamilton Hill Arts Center has served the community and has done so on a shoestring budget that has actually recently been looked at and provided with the resources that we can move forward in pulling along the other members of our community. And sometimes that has been a frustration to others who have not looked at the monies that we've received in the context of how many years we have actually served the community. Carver, once again, is in the same situation, and here we are before you. I feel like begging for you to acknowledge what it is that we need in the community to serve our own people. And I'm asking you to do so. We just prayed here to open our hearts. And so I stand before you as not only someone who serves the community tirelessly, okay, without being paid, but as a priest myself before God, who has to open my heart on a regular basis to ask you to open yours and make sure that there's money allocated for Carver. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel Kahn.
Hello, I'm Rachel Kahn. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm here both as a representative of the Carver Family Resource Center and as the director of the Hamilton Hill Arts Center, one of the programs that will be offering services there. I think what we've presented is very important because as we make improvements in Hamilton Hill, it's important that the community understands that these improvements are for them and that they have some control over what those look like. The plan that we have proposed allows the residents to take ownership over their community center, and I think that's an important distinguishment between the other plans, and I think it's one that we need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Nicole. John Simone.
Good evening again. President Porterfield, I just want to make clear, I should have signed up twice, I think, for this, and I also had something else to say at the end that does not relate to that.
You can be on both.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could come back up. Okay, so I'm now putting on my Pastor Nikki hat, right? Because now having been in this community for 6 years, I do have members of my church that remember the Carver Center probably like in its heyday, right? And they talk about the good times that they had there and the things that they learned there. And I'm reading a book right now. It's called How to Kill a City by Peter Mouskowitz. And in the book, it talks about how most urban or black and brown communities in the United States had this moment of disinvestment where money came out of the community, whether that was from white flight, industry being taken away. I've been trying to kind of put my finger on like when that moment was in Schenectady. People have like different stories, but a lot of people say it was GE, you know, like people say, you know, that was the moment that money kind of left the community and people left, right? And you can walk around the Hamilton Hill section of the city and you see blighted properties and things like that. You see the Carver Center boarded up and you know that something used to happen here, right? So I think the time has come though for a reinvestment in our neighborhood. And that's what, you know, my church and the NAACP were trying to do. That's what the Hamilton Hill Arts Center is doing. So, you know, when I received an email today saying that funding might not be going to, any funding going to the Carver Center, I was concerned because what I'm realizing with the work that I'm trying to do and that my church and the NAACP has been doing in this community for decades is that if we have the partnership of the city, we can go to the county, we can go to the state, we can go to other people and say, the city is supporting us and they're partnering with us. But when you pull out, then others pull out. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it's like we need the council, the mayor, we need everybody to partner with us and to come and stand in solidarity with us for that reinvestment to happen in our communities. So I think that, you know, the time has come, you know, for a reinvestment in the Hamilton Hill section of town. And I can see the work that has been done. Somebody showed me not too long ago old pictures of downtown. I wasn't here in Schenectady when downtown was looking like that, but you can see evidence of the reinvestment in that section of town. So I think that the residents that I serve as pastor, they want to see that same reinvestment in their section of town. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense. If you have time, read the book. It's very good. But I'm here in support of the Carver Center to say, let's come together and figure out how to do that. Okay.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak on public hearing number 1, so I declare this public hearing closed. Public hearing number 2 is regarding amendment section 248-2 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing parking violations fines. Is there anyone here for this public hearing? If not, I declare public hearing number 2 closed. Public hearing number 3, regarding amending section 92-7 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing fees and charges for the police department records. Is there anyone here to speak to this on this public hearing? If not, I declare the public hearing number 3 closed. Public hearing number 4, regarding amending sections 134-13 and 124-22 of the Schenectady City Code, increasing administrative fees regarding false alarm calls. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this public hearing? If not, I declare public hearing number 4 closed. Public hearing number 5, regarding amending City Code 144-114C, increasing dog license fees. Sorry about that. Is there anyone here to speak to public hearing number 5? If not, I declare public hearing number 5 closed. Thank you. If the clerk could please, could we please have approval of the minutes from September 23rd, 2024? I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Farley, second by Ms. Patrick. All those in favor? Aye. If the clerk could please read any communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Under official, there is none. Under general, an emailed letter from David DeToro dated September 23, 2024, regarding the renaming of Barrett Village Lane to Luigi Lane, and alternate suggestion for Marlene Hill Way. Next is an email from Ida Drexler dated September 26, 2024, regarding properties on Summit Avenue and not having the opportunity to purchase adjacent properties. Next is an email from Margaret Novak dated October 8th, 2024, on behalf of the Goose Hill Neighborhood Association, requesting ARPA funds that were allocated for Steinmetz Park be allocated to be used at the Cary Street Park. And last for general, there is an email from Ray Fott, president of the Bellevue Preservation Incorporation, dated October 12th, 2024, regarding ARPA funds being reallocated. Under petitions, there are none.
Thank you. Call on council members to provide any committee reports. This time we'll have privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have one person signed up to speak. Tom Kennedy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I apologize for my voice. I don't have one anymore. Before we even started the 2025 budget process, this budget was a failure, not only because it has a tax increase, because this council failed in their fiduciary responsibility to the city of Schenectady. Before this budget proposal was even penned, this council squandered much of the $52 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds. Let me repeat that. Much of $52 million of American Rescue Plan funds. Funds that could have went for projects that would have lessened our tax liabilities. But no, Porterfield and the progressives, in many cases, diverted funds to their friends and supporters. But the failure of this council had no bounds. Even when deficit warnings were being forecasted for the 2025 budget, you voted for raises for yourselves. You voted raises for yourselves on a budget that you failed to approve by its deadline. But even then, Handing out raises went on and on in City Hall to even the most highly paid employees. Again, with a budget, coming budget, being forecasted with deficits. Now we are hearing the City Council's considering even more raises when our fellow citizens will be seeing a tax hike. The failures of this budget have yet to be realized, but we already know that American Rescue Plan Act funds are being proposed to cut financial shortfalls in this budget proposal. And fund reserves are being drained, which will return next year as budget deficits and future property tax increases, which have been reported as high as $7 to $9 million for next year. This council are also playing their part in raising taxes as they raise fees for a wide array of municipal fines, some of which were talked about tonight and more are to come, as we've been told, which in itself is ironic, as only just a year ago, the same council was referring to garbage fees as raising taxes. So no matter how you look at where we find ourselves today, failures have been and will be the driving factors in this year's budget and beyond as we face further tax increases. Just want to mention a thing off, wasn't prepared. I know I listened to some of my fellow Schenectadians talk about Carver Community Center. I remember Carver Community Center when I was growing up, when I was a kid. Just real quick.
That is your time.
That's my time?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to have to come back and talk about the Carver Community Center,
If you'd like.
if I like.
If you'd like.
I'll just put it in a press release. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to start timing these myself.
I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public comment on the legislative agenda closed. This time, I ask for approval of the legislative consent agenda. Moved by Mr. Mutaverin, second by Mr. Williams. All in favor? Aye. Now we'll have privilege of the floor regarding general city business. I have two people signed up to speak. The first person is Tom Kennedy.
All right. Well, I didn't know I was going to get back this quick, but I guess we'll forego the press conference and the press release. So again, I heard my fellow Schenectadians talking about the importance of the Schenectady Carver Community Center. You know, it wasn't too long ago, or I think it was in the last couple of weeks, I think Ms. Porterfield said something about that they didn't have one. They didn't have a community center in that area of the town with the loss of the community center, which is true. But as I looked at this town, I've been here for a few years, and there's no community center in Bellevue. There's one in Woodlawn. There isn't one in Goose Hill. In fact, there isn't anyone anywhere else in the city. So I would say that I would ask the mayor and the city council is to look at how best are we going to serve all the youth, because we are having shootings and all kinds of issues all over our city with youth, vandalism, all types of things. So we've got to find a way in which we can engage all our children, all our youth, not just one part of a town, not one part of a community, but all community. Because I'm just as interested, I come from Woodlawn, about the Woodlawn kids. And there's people here with Bellevue kids and every other where in the city. So I think at this point now, we don't have a community center anywhere in the city. So I think it's time that we start looking at how we're going to address the youth of our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pastor Nicole John Simone.
Good evening again. I would like to, excuse me, invite you, council, mayor, everyone, we will be having a harvest festival on October 31st from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at our church. But what's really exciting is it's going to be the grand opening of Heritage Corner, which is a pocket park that we're opening. So one of the goals for the church, for our nonprofit, is to use every property that we own to serve the city. So if you know a little history about Doree Memorial was started by Isaac Doree 187 years ago. He was a Dutch, of Dutch ancestry, a student at Union College, and a member of the Reformed Church down in the Stockade. And he used his ability to buy property at that time to make sure that Black residents had a space to worship and have church, right? So he he never served as the pastor. He just knew that he had the ability and the Black residents did it to get the property. And so he did. And so now, Doree, we have the church building, we have this plot of land on Hewlett, further down Hewlett, we have a community garden that Sycamore Collaborative is managing. They've been using that, but we own that property. So we want to use every bit of our property to serve the community. And so now we're going to have this park. And so I want to invite you to the grand opening of it. It's going to be probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'll send you an email at the exact time we're going to do the grand opening. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing a trunk or treat for the kids. We got 150 Happy Meals coming, so we want to feed everybody. And we've been doing a lot of work, turning this land into a park. So please come out on the 31st.
The 31st?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have no one else signed up to speak. The public comment of city business, so I declare this public comment closed. Any miscellaneous business of the council? Mr. Farley. I can hear you.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I want to extend my thank you to everyone that came out to share today. I think it's very important that we do acknowledge that we are going through a trying time in our city. Our city is mourning a loss of a very promising life. And when these type of tragedies happen, this is something that will be felt community-wide. I do want to say that I have very unique vantage point, and throughout my work there, I was able to watch some of our young people outside of the institutional supports and supports part of the agency who do an amazing job. I just want to look back and I saw our young people organically really caring for each other and uplifting each other. And I think that that's a story that's not often told. Regrettably, this is on the heels of such a tragic incident, but I just really want to make sure that we amplify that and people recognize that we have some brilliant, loving, compassionate young people throughout our community. And now is the time for us to wrap around them, to support them, and look for ways to get involved, whether that be just conversations with people, your local churches, local nonprofits, obviously your school district, look for ways to get involved and make sure that we recognize the young people and we encourage them to move forward after such a tragic incident, and that will hopefully lessen the record of something that's happening again. Thank you.
Do yours again? No. Thank you. Well, I also want to add my condolences to the entire family of the Schenectady City School District in light of the tragedies that occurred this week. So I join with Mr. Farley in that and hope that together as a community, we can continue to help our youth and help, understand that the use of violence is just going to hurt us all. With that, I also want to, I have to switch gears for a second and note that on Wednesday from 12 to 5, this Wednesday, over at Key Hall, our Schenectady Fire Department and our Schenectady Police Department are joining together in what they're calling the Battle of the Badges in order to try to help the American Red Cross increase its blood supply. So I encourage folks to get over there on Wednesday and give blood. And finally, I do want to say something about the email that we all received from Mr. Fott, the president of the Bellevue Neighborhood Association. He definitely had some misinformation that I believe was provided to him by someone else. He thought that at least Ms. Porterfield and myself had said that we wanted to take resources away from Hillcrest Park in Bellevue, and we wanted to definitely, both of us reached back out to him to indicate that that was not true, not information that he somehow had been given incorrect information. So I did want to clarify that publicly, since his email to all of us was also public. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to update with regards to our budget. We just concluded our budget hearing, a very successful budget hearing, and I want to commend all the department heads, the mayor, and my colleagues for a very productive budget hearing. We're now in the next couple days with the council and the mayor and his department head to negotiate a budget, but I can proudly say that from last year to this year, things have changed, and we have seen the respect that in the negotiation, in the discussion, the hearing, that my colleagues, the mayor and his department head have shown over the last couple of days. And I encourage everyone for us to continue our dialogue, continue our discussion as we move the next couple of days. And we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to have a budget in the next couple of days. Just this evening, we voted on a resolution to accept $636,000 to help with the lead service line replacement survey. And I just want to remind homeowner, as I have told my colleagues today downstairs in room 110, that we all have to chip in to help to make sure that our residents complete the survey and to return it back so that we can have an accurate count of our lead pipe. I encourage homeowners, if you're looking, please, you should receive something like this. Please, it's very important that you complete the survey and return it. There are information on this survey that you can reach out to if you need information, or I'm going to put it, reach out to your city council member, reach out to me, reach out to the mayor's office. If you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate. It's a very short survey, and I ask that you complete it, return it, so our water department and the relevant authority has the information so that we can able to work towards changing these lead pipe in the city of Schenectady. So once again, there's a number on here, 382-5023. You have the city council member number, you have the mayor's number. Please reach out to us for any information whatsoever you need, and we can assist you to get this information, this survey back to where it belongs to, and we can move forward with this survey and to address the lead pipe concern in the city of Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to say one thing, but again, speaking with Mr. Farley and actually what Mr. Kennedy said, I mean, we suffer as a community when tragic events like this happen. And what are we going to do for our youth throughout the whole city? Hopefully we'll be able to figure something out. I'd just like to remind everyone that this Thursday night at 5:30 at the YW on Washington Avenue is Take Back the Night. There's always some speakers regarding domestic violence. It's a good turnout, and then there's a beautiful walk and some fundraising for victims of domestic violence and survivors. Thank you.
Again, the discussion for Carver Community Center has shifted somewhat, joining the city school district, where some of their needs for space may complement the reutilization of that building. So I'm fairly comfortable with the discussions that are going on that are going to result in a project that would be better and more sustainable for the community as a whole. Again, on the evening of October 12th, there was a Sweet 16 party on Congress Street in the city of Schenectady. So council members have alluded to that resulted in the death of Dunbar Knowles. A young man was shot and again lost his life. Also, a 13-year-old girl was wounded. These are just tragic events, and my thoughts, prayers, and sympathy go out to the family and friends. This is an active investigation. City Police Department, State Police, there are other resources that are being brought in, and I anticipate that that will conclude in those individuals being held accountable for their actions that resulted in that death and injuries to the girl. And so not only on that case, but other cases that are there, people in the community, if you have information, have the opportunity to stand up and draw a line because you want to do what's right. Do that. Reach out to the police department. There's a tips line where the information will be followed up on. And again, when people do what's right, it creates real value in the community. It displaces those individuals who choose to make poor decisions, the negative influence, and that it allows us to continue the investment and the transition that's happening in this community with a real renaissance. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you all, council members. And I'd like to thank everyone that came out tonight to speak about the various topics that are of concern to you regarding the city. And also, first of all, I would like to also offer my condolences to the family of Dubar Knowles, who is known also as Tyreek in the community. And I just ask that everyone really lift this family up, because this mother has lost 2 children to violence. And so, you know, it's got to be a difficult, I can't even imagine what it's like. So I just want to offer my condolences to that family, and also any help that, that I could be to the family. I know the grandmother really well, so it's an unfortunate thing. And it has been said, we really have to see how we can help our children and support them in any way possible, because this is a difficult time, but also that we're not just doing things after things happen, but how can we help to support our children so things can be prevented from happening. I'd like to thank everyone that came out this past weekend for the tennis pickleball tournament, whose fundraiser actually to support the police and the the Schenectady Firefighters Cancer Foundation. Everybody had a great time, and the weather was perfect. So couldn't ask for more. So thank you all. And if you still want to donate to that effort, it's neverfightalone.org, and the money goes directly to the Schenectady Firefighters Cancer Foundation. There's been conversation today about the ARPA allocation. I want to make a couple of points of clarification. First and foremost, if people want to see where the allocations went, they can see, as opposed to a speaker saying tonight that he called my name, that I and my friends got it. I don't have that many friends, that for how this money was allocated. So let's really take a look what really happened here, and not just speak about things that we thought happened, somebody told us, without doing the investigation. So I invite people to take a look at how we did our ARPA allocations. It was an open process, documents were provided, so people have a chance to take a look at that. And as Ms. Patrick has said, there was an email saying that we had had a conversation about reallocating something at one of the meetings that was misinformation. The person who sent the email, I don't believe, actually personally watched the meeting, but was given information by someone else. So I invite everyone, if you have a question regarding what's going on with the council, you can contact the council members. All of our information is on the city website. You can call us, you can send us an email. The same way you send an email to say you did this, you could send an email that said what happened. So we just want, we want there to be clarity between the council, the mayor, and our residents, so that everyone understands that every effort that we're doing here is for the best all residents of the city of Schenectady, because we are all residents of the city of Schenectady, not just other people, but the council members were residents as well. So everything we do, we want to do with the residents in mind. So I have nothing else, and with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mancini. All those in favor? Aye. Have a good night. Thank you. Yeah. So I don't know if the court mic really works for me, but